At the end of the day, I feel like history has so many underlying statements that we don't even know about. Like, there's so much stuff that we don't even know about, seriously, that when it finally hit the news, meaning that our knowledge not mental, then we sit back and be like, oh, snap, I've been operating wrong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not our fault. We just not...
You just didn't know.
We just don't know what went down.
Didn't know.
What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets REACT, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction.
Yes.
Super excited about this video, guys. If you're new to us and we're new to you, make sure you scroll down,
hit that subscribe button,
and turn on the post notification bell
because we're on the road to 100K.
And we cannot get there without you guys, all right? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Louisiana trumpet player Jeremy Thomas was 12 when he dug his first grave. While caring for his ancestors' cemetery, Jeremy's father taught him that a grave is more than just a grave. It's a site of memory and transition, a reminder that there is no escape from death. I've set out to explore the burial rites of Black Louisiana and what they reveal about a community's capacity for resistance.
Okay, so you guys, this was supposed to be a part of our Black History Month, but of course, who got sick? Me, you, somebody got sick.
One of us was getting sick a lot.
Right, so we couldn't get to it, and you guys have been asking for us to share more of our culture. At first, it was like, how can we react to our culture? But I feel like this was a good video for us to, you know, continue to show the connection with our people. The state that they're talking about, Louisiana, we are from Louisiana.
Right.
So, you know, just a connection from Louisiana to Africa.
This should be interesting, though, because the burials, people don't really talk about. Like, you never hear people say, oh, we're going to dig or make a new grave site for people. You don't hear things of that nature. So now that we're able to see exactly how it operates, I think it should be interesting and a little more insightful as well.
Yes. Yeah. But our families do, like, you know, as for holidays and as time go on, our family do like to go there and make sure that the grave looks nice.
Oh yeah, 100%.
They even catch a fit if they find out that the grass has grown over the grave.
Nah, real talk.
And you know, the cemetery is not taking care of their duties and things like that. So I feel like we do kind of honor that. But I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna let this go on before we continue the whole conversation.
I'm Tariana Tank Ball, and this is Ritual. There are no older rituals than those devoted to caring for the dead, nor are there any which reveal more about the living. In Louisiana, Black people have been creating and protecting traditions that honor the dead for centuries. From the music of the Black church to funeral processions, rituals form an intricate mosaic of human expression and cosmic connection. Enslaved communities secretly performed burials that incorporated African traditions like drumming and dancing. On plantations where gatherings of any kind were strictly outlawed, getting caught would almost certainly subject them to the overseer's whip. To take such risk on behalf of their loved ones became an act of resistance against the plantation. For Jeremy, traditions like playing music at funeral processions is a deep source of connection to his ancestral lineage. He also spends countless hours digging through state archives to piece together the lost and buried history of his enslaved ancestors. Fueled by sacred duty to honor the dead, Jeremy and his family carry the torch for a long line of Black cemetery caretakers. Together, they maintain and protect the cemetery's grounds where their community is buried. Today, he's invited me to the Lutheran cemetery so I can see where it all began.
I mean, that goes back to what you was just saying, because that grass does grow out. Like, when that grass starts to grow, it's like, you don't even know what's there anymore. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad to see they try to keep it clean, or they actually do keep it clean.
And then, like that, it makes me think of, you know, when they start building the cities and building lakes over graves.
Yeah, 100%.
Our graves.
You got a lot of that.
You know, a lot of that
went down.
A lot of that. I can't really think of anything in Louisiana. I'm sure I do remember a town I can't necessarily
I know a
think of it.
few, but I can't name right now off the back of my head. But I know a
Right.
few.
But it's very important for us to take care of our graveyards, because then you deal with certain things that still today, maybe they have changed it in the last couple of years, but I know that there was still segregated graveyards
Wow.
in the 2020s. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
This is the Lutheran Cemetery. We're here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana,
Yes.
in the top of a community that we call the South.
And what is your family's history with this cemetery?
Yeah, my dad actually started, he took the role as caretaker, right?
Wow.
But really, there's a long history with my family in this cemetery. My great-great-grandmother, Hannah, she joined the Benevolent Society in 1935.
Their main mission is to take care of the sick
Wow.
and bury the dead.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool to know about.
This Benevolent Society is actually started in 1858.
Benevolent societies were mutual aid organizations created to offer Black Louisianians the social safety net they were denied by segregation law. With roots in West Africa, where fraternal organizations were an important part of the community structure, members of these societies pooled their resources to care for all those in need. Above all, belonging to a benevolent society meant that when the time came, they'd receive a proper burial, a guarantee for dignity in death. What's the traces of Africa that can be found in these traditions?
Oh, Jesus. Traces
Is that a
of
hard
Africa.
question?
That's a very hard question.
I can imagine.
Because so many things
Have changed.
Yeah. Were just legally, right, remove the African traditions.
Yes.
For example, Article 14 of the Code Noir
Congo Square.
states that if a slave dies and that slave is not baptized, then you are to bury that slave at night in a field somewhere near the spot where it died.
Laws like the French Code Noir controlled every aspect of life for enslaved people, including what religion they could practice and how they were buried. In cases of serious slave resistance, the Code Noir mandated gruesome punishments, such as branding with the fleur-de-lis, chopping off ears, and the death penalty.
Let's talk about the branding of the fleur-de-lis. Ooh, when I learned that, I was mad because almost everyone, I can't really say for Louisiana, but I know, being from New Orleans, almost every woman at least gets a fleur-de-lis tattoo. My very first tattoo was a fleur-de-lis. And I got my tattoo when I was still in high school. Don't worry about it. But when I learned that, I was so mad. I'm like, I got this tattoo on me, and my people used to get branded when they ran away.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't know they was gonna bring that up, but that kind of made that struck a chord in me again.
But I think the symbolism of how everybody was doing in New Orleans today, it had a lot more power behind it, a lot more meaning to it.
Yeah, because
You know what I'm saying?
we took over after emancipation.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, New Orleans is a majority Black city. You know, the culture. Everybody knows the culture.
Everybody
of New
knows the
Orleans.
culture, for
Everybody
real.
go there for the culture in New Orleans. So
Yeah, I think the meaning
I'm
was
still
more. it's
proud
powerful,
to have it. But
No, I feel that 100%. But when you figured it out,
yeah, I'm like, maybe I should have got a reimagined design or something.
nah. But at the end of the day, I feel like history has so many underlying statements that we don't even know about. Like there's so much stuff that we don't even know about. Seriously, that when it finally hit the news, meaning that our knowledge not mental, then we sit back and be like, oh snap, I've been operating wrong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's not our fault. We just not.
You just
We
didn't know.
just don't know what
You
went
just
down.
didn't know.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to learn something new every single day. So
No,
you
100%.
shouldn't feel bad for not knowing something. And that's why we can get on this camera, and if we don't know something, we're like, oh, I didn't know that.
Did not know.
We just didn't know.
Now you know too.
Shoot.
Despite the widespread and violent efforts of white supremacy, some traces of African traditions prevailed. To ensure the deceased were properly put to rest, enslaved people would sing hymns, dance, drum, and march.
You know how the music, when it started parading to the burial ground, that's an African tradition.
I don't say that feels African.
Right.
That feels African. You know, I could just hear it and I can see it. You know, us bringing the body to its final resting place and singing our way there. I feel that in my heart.
Everybody's dancing, everybody's tambourine playing.
I'm sorry, Have you been to a New Orleans funeral before? It sounds like you've been to a New Orleans funeral.
Well, we are further up the river. I've definitely been to
Okay, I'm about to say,
For sure.
because that's what it's like.
Yeah.
We truly celebrate
That's
the
right.
dead. Traces of African burial traditions can be seen in New Orleans' Second Lines, which has roots in the centuries-old Congo Square gatherings. The rhythms, the dancing, and the community solidarity are all expressions of African ancestral memory.
Gotta bring your umbrella.
Generations later, people like Jeremy find new ways to maintain their connection to their Louisiana ancestors.
I learned so much about my family by digging through these archives. The archives have also taught me a lot about the history of the people that owned and operated the state of Louisiana.
The history that we've lost, the things that we've forgotten, but we come to America and we make our own traditions and we make something new. And it's so cool to listen to the stories that your family has kept and just have kept alive. And we really appreciate you for that. Your entire family are gems to this land.
Right.
Thank
you. Gotta
you.
meet the rest of the family.
Oh yeah, who am I gonna meet?
It's gonna be mama, you gonna be auntie.
Now, wait a minute. Now, look. Every time we tell y'all about, oh, we from the South. And how y'all say people in the United States don't speak. They have that fakeness about themselves. And we like,
smile.
have you been to Louisiana? This is what we talk about all the time on the channel when we tell y'all this is our hospitality. We come in, how we greet y'all. We say y'all are a part of our family because we believe that y'all are a part of our family. Y'all tune in each and every day to watch us and to learn with us and for us to learn from y'all. That's what a family does, right? Teach you life lessons, teach you your history, teach you your culture. We're a family.
Talk about it.
As in,
I wondered, after being denied burial rights for so long, how can uncovering our history empower us today? So I headed to meet Joy Banner in her cafe, located in the center of plantation country, a site which bore witness to profound suffering. Joy is a co-founder of the Descendants Project, which is dedicated to justice for enslaved people and their descendants. After all of that trauma within a community, how important is it for a community to bury the dead? What's at stake here?
What does it mean when we bury somebody? No, that is the opportunity to come together as a community, as a family, and send that person off in love. You know, that sense of healing that they gave each other after that person passed. It's important for us to remember that those moments, even though they were heavily restricted and heavily, regulated by enslaving families, it was still a moment where people got together and that act of resistance was to remember and love that person.
How do you see the next generations taking on this power?
Well, the very act of taking care of the burial grounds is so important, right? Because it's respecting that space, it's making sure that it's a peaceful, respite for, people to come and commune with their ancestors and acknowledge and celebrate that person's life. And also it's a historical record, right? So if we don't have the headstone, and then that's the issue that we have now with a lot of these unmarked burial grounds, is they're unmarked. And so when someone takes care of a headstone, they are ensuring that the next generation is going to know who was buried there and understand their value and understand the life of that person.
What makes it also so important for a community is to know that we aren't disregarded. We aren't nothing. It lets us know that we lived and that we mattered here, right?
We mattered. And if you think about, for enslaved people, their value was attached to their labor.
Oh.
Right? And so now that that person isn't able to labor anymore, put them in the ground anywhere, right? Or we're not going to put you in the burial.
We're not going to honor your life.
We're not going to honor you. Who cares? You're valueless, right? So the agency, the resistance, when they're saying, no, we have value, you were important outside of your labor.
Yes.
That is what is so important about those rituals. And my favorite element of what our ancestors did is to plant a tree as markers for enslaved people. That tree is going to grow. And so now, hundreds of years later, as a descendant, when I can touch that leaf or that tree, that's me holding hands with my ancestor. Yes. Now I feel their spirit. I feel how they come, and you know they thought about us.
Joy's commitment to her community made me think about my experiences in the church growing up. I had such a strong relationship with the church, my family wanted me to continue the tradition of ministry. I had other plans, of course. Throughout Louisiana history, Black churches have provided a sanctuary for bodies and spirits wearied by the struggle for survival. The music of the church elevated the congregation into an exalted space free of daily troubles. My last stop is one of the oldest Black churches in Louisiana. Afton Villa Baptist originated from a congregation that had worshiped together in the woods of Clover Hill Plantation. Today, the resonant voice of Reverend Dr. Lionel Davis continues to lead his congregation through hard times.
That's a good way to, that's a good way to look at it too, yeah.
Look.
It's just it amazed me that they knew what was at stake when they would get together and they would beat their drums and they try to hold on to a culture and a tradition and a ritual that just meant something for the whole Black community when it was enslaved. That they really would put their lives at stake for stuff like that. And I think that's just powerful to pass it down in continuance. You know what I'm saying?
Just to make sure that they buried their loved ones. And that reminds me of us, you know, when a loved one passed, we still do our best to try to make it to that funeral.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know, because we look at it as our last chance to honor them. And just thinking of the recent funeral with my grandmother and how the whole week I was strong, you know, I teared up a little bit. But when I got there, that's when I really felt her presence, and I felt that, dang it, like she's really like one of my spirit guides now, you know, like I ain't gonna go up into that, but still just wanting to make it there because it's that important. It don't matter what we're gonna miss out on. It's that important for us to make it to that person's funeral to honor their life. And I don't know how it is with other people's funerals, but that is just something that I feel like was ingrained in us from children. Oh, we gotta make it to this funeral. Every time I talk to my dad, he's like, oh, I gotta go to this person's funeral. I'm like, who is that?
Right. Yeah.
You know, and he's like, well, I gotta go to their funeral. You know?
Yeah, that's him for real. Man. It's interesting that they mentioned, so they saying burials, they taking care of the cemetery. But they haven't mentioned, and I think she kind of did when she said they plant the trees, which is something I'm familiar with. Yeah. They would plant the trees and everything. So is that had to do with like maybe with ashes?
Maybe wanting their life to go on. I know I've heard of the trees before, but I just thought they planted the trees in honor of their life.
In honor of?
We would have to like really go research ourselves to like see, you know, more of the significance. But the way I understand it is in honor of their life.
I think they will even mark the tree.
Yeah. Especially with those little plaques, you know. Whew, they
how do these
help with this one?
Yeah.
They did it with this one.
PBS.
Yes.
Help people during their times of bereavement, you think?
Well, it's lift their spirit, it's take their mind off of the darkness of their life and place them in the sunshine of their life, letting them know behind every dark cloud there is a silver lining. Behind all of their storm, there'll come a calm.
Just music alone does that.
Yeah, it's a universal language.
Yes, it is. I would love to hear you sing one of your favorite songs.
Oh, come on.
Can we go over there and you sing it? I mean, I see we got you got some church members in the, is that an organist over there?
Yeah.
Is that a drummer over there?
A drummer and musician.
Oh, yes.
I like that, I like that, yeah.
On the battlefield of my Lord, I am on the battlefield.
That's all you need right there.
There are as many ways to pay tribute to lost loved ones as there are people. When I am missing my grandmother, I make a point to visit her old house. The memories are all there. They give me strength during trying times. The history of exploitation and white supremacy in Louisiana placed a weight on the shoulders of its Black residents so heavy that their survival seems nothing short of a miracle. But more than just surviving it, they were able to transform this pressure into the diamond that is Black Louisiana culture, a magnificent celebration of the endless circle of life and death.
Cool. Then they got the preaching that come with it. Now, it reminded me of Africa. We watch a video on how they do their burials and they actually dance with the caskets and all. But before they do that, they get everybody to the back and they let them mourn.
Like the wake.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm watching how we do it, but you still gonna have that one person in the midst of that song screaming. They gonna scream.
I ain't gonna scream, but I'm gonna be stomping and
real talk though. But it's all love and it's a beautiful sight, man. It's bringing people together, like she mentioned. People really do come together that people you never see in a minute.
Right. So when y'all ask, what culture y'all have? This is our culture, specifically the Demouchet's culture. I almost broke when she started talking about her grandma, Lord. I had to get really back here. It's a reaction. But we hope you guys enjoyed this video. You know who that is, right?
Which one?
Tank. Yeah.
This
boy
Tank.
be in my DM say I'm pretty. Her. I love her. Yeah, I love the way she speak. Like, it's just a melody. It's a poem. Everything, you know. So we hope you guys enjoyed this video with us. Like this video, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell. We have enabled our super thanks if you like to support the channel that way, as well as our reaction request form is in our description box below. We'll see you soon.
Peace.